The United States prides itself on the motto of its being the land of the free, but that is not entirely true in the history of the people who have lived here. Multiple ethnic groups, including Native Americans, African Americans, Latina and Latino Americans, and Asian Americans, just to name a few, have become marginalized as a result of their respective histories in the United States. Here, I will focus on African Americans. The legal definition of racial profiling is a consideration of race, ethnicity, or national origin by an officer of the law in deciding when and how to intervene in an enforcement capacity. I'm going to make a modification to that definition and replace the words officer of the law with individual. I do that because although members of the police force are perpetrators for the use of racial profiling, they are not the only people who do it. Racial profiling is done by policymakers, store owners, white people, and even people of color. Racial profiling is connected to the turbulent histories of oppressed people. African Americans, ranging from youth to older ages, are prime victims of this issue. We are judged when we go into stores, when we are buying property, when we achieve varying levels of education, and even by officers of the law. Racial profiling is minute because there are bigger issues, right? Well, racial profiling has many effects, both immediate and big picture. For example, police officers use racial profiling on African Americans when deciding whether or not an individual should be reprimanded. Police officers use excessive force when interacting with African Americans on both male and female victims. This is called police brutality. Police brutality goes even further into the American prison system. According to the Children's Defense Fund's Cradle to Prison Pipeline campaign, an African American male born into the 21st century has a 1 in 3 chance of going to prison. Why? Well, amongst a host of other reasons, all stemming from systematic oppression, African Americans are notable victims of racial profiling, so it is expected for them to be behind prison bars at least once during their life. Thinking about it, it may be difficult for you to recall a time when you have been a victim of racial profiling, but maybe my experience can trigger something within your own respective memories. There was one Best Buy shopping experience that I had which exists in my memory so vividly. I remember my friend and I walked through the entrance and we were greeted by an employee just as any other customer would be. Everything was happening normally, so we just proceeded like normal customers. Eventually, as we made our way down the music and movie aisles, we were watched and followed. Numerous employees approached us and asked us if we were in any need of assistance. They did this repeatedly, so, fed up by this unnecessary and unwanted attention, my friend and I chose to leave the store. As we exited, the same employee who greeted us offered us no words but a stare, which informed my friend and me that our presence in the store was undesired. I feel that many people can identify with my experience because something similar may have happened to them at some point. And luckily, my experience with racial profiling did not involve police harassment or the American prison system. Now, I do not mean to discredit those who have been victims of racial profiling and police harassment beyond that. There are notable individuals who have fallen victim to police harassment which stemmed from racial profiling. These individuals include Oscar Grant, Eric Garner, and Mike Brown. Each of these individuals were racially profiled and unfortunately slain by officers of the law for various and arguably illegitimate reasons. Racial profiling in relation to police activity was either briefly mentioned or detailed in multiple readings that have been assigned to our class throughout this semester. This relationship was mentioned in The Black Male in Public, Against the Wall, and the 8th chapter in Cracks in the Pavement. Something noteworthy about each of those readings is the detailed victims of racial profiling were male. And while males are definitely victims, females are too. I believe that females are overlooked when it comes to racial issues like profiling, mainly because it is males who are portrayed in the media. Oprah Winfrey has been a victim of racial profiling, and this has been since she has achieved fame. This just goes to show that no matter what an African American status is in this nation, we are all viewed as general underachievers. The racial profiling that is used by police for them to take action could have multiple results. One could be unfortunate death, as discussed earlier, and another possibility is the entrance of yet another African American into the American prison system. Prison is arguably the latest form of American slavery, an idea posed in Ava DuVernay's documentary 13th, and in relation to the population of white inmates, the number of inmates of color people is higher. While there is a variety of reasons as to why there are so many people of color in the prison system, it is undeniable that the statistics reveal some degree of racial profiling. This goes to show that racial profiling, although minute in idea, has very large-scale effects. It can result in harassment, imprisonment, and even death, amongst other things. Now, what can be done to prevent racial profiling? That may be too big of an obstacle to take on, but there are smaller things that can be done. First, I recommend building confidence because that will help any individual who is stopped by the police. Next, do not be afraid to question authority. If you are stopped by an officer, question them. Ask what you did wrong. And remember, vote, because there are not enough of us out there who are doing it. With all that being said, I am Justin Shelmire, and this has been my time. Thank you.